What's up, everybody? It is the Best Spot Kids Movement. I'm back with another video. So today, let's talk about the Xbox Game Showcase 2023. I've been to so many podcasts, whether it was live reactions, immediate reviews, Weapon Wheel podcasts. So I'm doing this video same day, probably posted the next day. But just to give you like my uninterrupted, unfiltered impressions of the showcase. The Xbox showcase was about, I want to say, a good hour and I think maybe hour and 50 minutes or so. 45 of those minutes belonging to the Starfield Direct, hour five for the Xbox Game Showcase. Both of them pretty solid. Really good showcase. I gave it a score overall of an 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, my expectation was a 9.5, but I'll tell you why it's only at an 8, despite it being a great showcase. So first of all, they opened the showcase major with FABLE, and it was in-game cinematics that they did. I thought it looked really good. Playground is kind of really flexing over there. It was a humorous, it's still showing that it has that Fable charm, but visually it's looking impressive, and they looking like they're taking a different take and a different approach with this one. And we didn't get a release date or release window for it, so we know this is about maybe potentially, a year to 18 months out for its finally release. I think the year that this game does release will be the biggest game for Xbox in that respective year. But they opened up big, and then I think the second game they showed was Compulsion's game, and we've been waiting to see and hear from Compulsion. And they're working on a game called South of Midnight, and it looks like it's taking place in the deep south of America, and it's going to be the main protagonist is a black female. It's very St. Louis, New Orleans, Nolans type deal going on, probably dealing with some sort of like a magic. It's supposed to be like a dark fantasy action adventure game. But overall it was good to finally hear something about Compulsion. We didn't get a release date or release window from that, but you got to assume it's going to be sometime within the next 12 to 18 months, maybe even for a game like that. um they're the big games that were shown: Forza Motorsport, of course. Uh, October 10th, they got his release date confirmed. We learned that Payday 3 is going to be in Game Pass. Its day and date comes out September 21st. Um, City Skylines also launching day and date in the Game Pass. City Skylines 2, actually. And I think that's sometime later this year. I forget the date on that one. Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty showed up. It's not going to be a part of Game Pass, but Xbox still has the marketing with that game. Towerborn, which is by the same people that did, I think, Banter Saga, I think Stoic. That game looks actually pretty decent. I'm not gonna hold you. Avowed showed up. Now, Avowed didn't close the show, but it did show up, and I was a little bit confused at the trailer because I thought it was like, was this like Assassin's Creed? But as it opened up, again, it looks good. It looks like and then it was in-game gameplay that they showed of Avowed. Looks like really Obsidian's take on Skyrim. It looked like Skyrim, but just much more, colorful. It's like what Outer Worlds was to like Fallout, right? But overall, it looks good. They kind of give you a sneak peek of some of the things that showed up in the CGI trailer, a few years ago when they first announced it. But they did confirm that Avowed is coming in 2024, so that's next year. And so we sort of, with the showcase, we kind of obviously got what we're getting for the remainder of this year, and then what's going to be carrying Xbox next year. And that also came with Hellblade 2. They showed that off. Now, the thing about the Hellblade one is that I had higher expectations for Hellblade in terms of how it was shown. Now, of course, what they showed, the game looks good. The game, I have no question about the way the game looks. I want to see how it plays, and that was the really problem with this one. They showed another, like, story based trailer or gameplay moment, but it wasn't really gameplay. The gameplay I want to see is the combat, the hand-to-hand combat. And what they showed is pretty much like a segment that the non-combat segment, which I believe what we saw of the game is pure like in-game real time what's going actually going on. But the only issue about what we saw was it wasn't combat, and that's what I want to see more from Hellblade 2. Was I wanted to see combat, we didn't get that. And they also confirmed that it's 2024, and I was hoping Hellblade would like surprise us with a late 2023 release. So what it did was it kind of like hampered not my really thoughts on the showcase, but my thoughts on Xbox overall. Because like Xbox is really only finishing the year with Starfield and Forza, and those are two games along with Redfall. Like, so if you think about the games Redfall, Starfield, and Forza, those games were, in my opinion, I felt they outside of delays, they were supposed to come out. They were supposed to have been out already, right? So it's like, damn, 2023 is very, very light when you consider they have nothing else to pair with those games. But so the biggest thing knock on Hellblade was the lack of combat gameplay. I'm not going to say lack of gameplay because I believe what we saw was actually gameplay. If you, especially if you played the previous Hellblade games, that's a less combative game. A lot it was more acted more like a walking simulator and stuff like that. So what we saw of Hellblade 2, I believe is part of the game, like that somebody played, but it wasn't a combat section. And what we need to see more is the combat, see how that has improved. But overall, I mean, the game looks fine. I have nothing really against that, and the fact that the is releasing later than I expected. They also announced Flight Simulator 24 that's coming out next year. I thought they would be riding with just Flight Sim and that would just be their live service game. But I guess this game is going to have occasional releases like the Forza games and where they're releasing every maybe every other year, maybe every 2 years or so. But Flight Sim 2024 will be coming next year. It looks good. Flight Sim 2024 will have a lot of objectives to do. So different jobs. I guess it's more of a job sim than just a like a test flight. Like they're actually having you different scenarios, emergency treat scenarios, deliveries and stuff like that. And of course it looks good. Asobo is still doing it. They're doing a Dune expansion or a partnership for the existing flight simulator game. I think that's due sometime this year. Sea of Thieves has an update with the Monkey Island. um Star Wars, Ubisoft showed off Star Wars Outlaws. We didn't get gameplay; it was a CGI trailer, but the gameplay will be coming in the Ubisoft showcase. 33 Immortals, which looks like Hades with a 33 player co-op. I don't think it's in the same genre of Hades, but it's a 33 player co-op game. Uh, the art style is pretty cool. The concept seems also interesting. I'm just curious about the the chaos and trying to fulfill all those players in the madness that's going to occur on the screen. They also revealed, but unfortunately it leaked, was the Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Tactica, which is the tactics version of Persona 5. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth was revealed. Um, there was I want to say it was a lot of games. Now, the one thing that did impress me was the game by NXile, and I think the code name was Project Cobalt, but the revealed name was Clockwork Revolution. This is a first person steampunk RPG. This game looks awesome, and from what we saw it looks like this was like all in-game stuff that they were showing. But it looks really really good. And in Exile confirmed like this is like a true to form RPG, but it's in a better genre in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of like Wasteland and stuff like that. This is more so something that's more approachable. But it looks good, and we don't have a release date. But from what it looks like I said, this could be something that's coming out within the next 12 to 24 months. Um, Overall, showcase was really really good. We have a good roadmap of what's coming really soon. a good roadmap for the remainder of the year. Starfield showed off very well. They, like I said, they showed a 42 minutes of Starfield, the classic Bethesda style demonstration where they tried to show as much as possible. They showed off the new controller, new headset, the special edition watch. Pre-orders are now live. You get 5 days early access if you buy the $100 version. Um, the game looks better than it first revealed. The game is massive, uh, very immersive, a lot of potential. I don't know. They're doing a lot with the game. They did confirm, not during the showcase, but after the showcase, that Starfield will be 4K 30 FPS on Xbox Series X and 1440p 30 on Xbox Series S. That's a bit of a bummer. A part of my reason for the grade that I gave the Xbox showcase is the fact that they didn't clarify the frame rate for Starfield during a presentation. They did it after the show, but the news hadn't changed what I thought of the show. But it is disappointing that the game's only going to be like 30 FPS. I figured they would like target maybe an unlock frame rate, and and probably rely on VRR. Now that's probably, for the average player, not the best option, because you're not getting a lock or a guaranteed frame time. But for this, they're locking it at 30. If you're playing on PC, from what it sounds like, it's probably, you can probably hit 60 on whatever type of, depending on the rig you got. But overall, it's not 60 FPS. Disappointing, but at the end of the day, game looks good. If I'm looking to hit 60 on this game, I'm probably going to play it on PC, unless it's a situation like how Redfall was, a situation like how Forspoken was, a situation like how Ghostwire Tokyo was, where I struggled to get like just a consistent, decent performance. And then at that point, I revert back and just go to Xbox, where I at least get a consistent performer. But overall, man, the show was an 8.5 out of 10. I streamed, I hosted the Islanders podcast, did a live reaction there, kind of gave my initial thoughts. Planet Xbox podcast is live on the Weapon Wheel Patreon, where me and Addict go into detail of our thoughts. But I just kind of wanted to give like a quick rundown on what I'm feeling about the game. And I know a lot of people ask me about the whole 30 FPS thing. People were, coming at me about, like, because I've said a whole lot about Redfall, and I'm just only going to say this one more time. I expected Redfall to be 60 FPS based off the type of game it was, which I kind of had my mindset on Starfield. Like, this is probably not going to be 60 FPS, and I'm willing to accept that. So the shocker was Redfall, which kind of just sort of put a damper on everything. But yeah, I'm not happy about the 30 FPS news, but it's not a complete deal breaker, because I have options. Like, I mean, if I want, I have a PC that I can play. I'm just hoping, based off the specs, I know I can play the game. I just want to know if I can play it at 60 FPS. If I can't achieve, like any other game, if I can't achieve 60 FPS on Starfield on my PC, then I'm just playing it on Xbox. Because if I can't get 60, why bother going through the trouble? But other than that, though, it was a great showcase. They showed a lot of games. I'm happy of what they showed, and that the first party showed up in a big way. Xbox, man, it's so they got a lot of games coming. It's a lot of games coming, and I think Fallout. I think not. I'm sorry, not Fallout. I think Forza is going to be really big, and I think Starfield is going to be massive, and it's definitely probably going to be runner-up for Game of the Year for a lot of people. I'm looking forward to diving into it, but let me know your thoughts on the showcase. There's a lot of talk going on Twitter. People are hating, people are damage controlling, people are, trying to cope, but at the end of the day, this was one of the best showcases that we had this year. A part of like the Summer's Game Fest is definitely one of the best showcases, and Xbox definitely seems like they're in a better position for what they're trying to do and for their first party output than the competition. And I'm happy for it. I'm ready for it, and I'm looking forward to the future with Xbox. But that's my video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, Xbox is the best box. I am the best bot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. I'm out of here. Peace.